Hello, everybody, and welcome to another conversation, 50 conversations with 50 strangers. I thought this was going to take a long time to do. I was giving myself 50 days, but somehow the response to this inquiry has been so great. Today alone, I'm doing 5 conversations. So I think I'm going to get to my 50 conversations much quicker than I thought I would. And what I'm finding so far, which is not the context this conversation, is that especially in this time of COVID, especially in this time where people are really re-looking at who they are in terms of race is bringing up such an important thing for us and looking at how we believe about what we believe racially and where that all sits. And in the isolation that we sit in COVID, it's giving us a lot of time to think things through. And I was originally supposed to be out on the road, going from town to town, village to village, sitting on street corners and office buildings and government offices and bookstores and cafes, just sitting with people. And now COVID has not made that possible. So I thought, why don't I just do that and sit in my own chair in my own home and reach out to people and see if we can have conversations. And there's something beautiful about what's happening now because people in their isolation are feeling like really enriched by the opportunity to just be able to share with another person themselves. And I'm feeling enriched by the opportunity to just be able to be here for people to speak to. So I don't want to talk too much. I already have. It is my honor today to introduce you to Dell Henderson. Dell and I are complete strangers. We know each other all of about 18 seconds from a talk in the green room. Dell, welcome to 50 Conversations, 50 Strangers. It's my honor to have you here. How are you today?
I'm doing great, and thank you for allowing this opportunity for me to have this conversation. And like I say, for everybody that I meet physically, we had some type of pact in a different reality that we were meant to have this conversation in this moment together. So it's a pleasure meeting you for the first time physically, but I'm pretty sure in different dimensions we had tons of conversations already, and here we are.
Okay, I love that because it sets some sort of mysterious, beautiful background for what's possible, and I believe that too. Whether you and for those people who are listening, which that might be a little bit weird, allow yourself for this moment to embrace the possibility that this might not be our first go around here, and that we might have met in different places. Or there, when you walk down the street and you see somebody and you just instantly feel attracted to them, or you just feel like they're friendly and you just want to talk to them. Why is that? Or consequently, why is it when you walk down the street and you feel like, I want to stay away from this person, right? Well, maybe it's because we've had other interactions. So, Del, take a minute and tell us who you are and what's important to you.
Yeah, sure. So who I am is I am. And that's what I love to explain myself because I can put that I am to whatever I decide to be in each moment. So from being a father, from being a husband, from being a son, being a friend. Well, what I like to embody is, and this is what I call my practice, is true essence connection. So I like to call myself the true essence connector. And what my perception, what my belief is, we all have embedded in us this unique divine energy that is coming through infinitely in our own expression, but the same energies in each and every one of us. And with that energy, it allows me to connect with everything and everyone. And I discovered that in my own path because of the fact of me searching for this feeling that I feel from connecting to this essence externally, from just numerous experiences, looking for people pleasing relationships. I can name everything, addictions, all these stuff. We're trying to find this feeling of feeling love. And in the pursuit of feeling love, I looked for it in all these different ways that gave me temporary experiences of love. But once I was able to finally go within and look for that love within and realize that it always been there within, I just had to go through my experience of unraveling my conditioning from life and my beliefs to really understand the fact of I am that. And once I was able to get to that, life just became so much magical. And it's my honor and also my privilege to help as many people as possible to be able to see that and to become that and to experience that as well in their own lives.
Can you remember the first time that you experienced the I am that you speak of?
Yeah. For myself, it was different experience, like I mentioned, just external situations. I was getting little glimpses of what is possible with that, meaning like offering something out of love for somebody, offering something or being of service for someone. I didn't know what was happening for me, but I was feeling like just a surge of energy and fulfillment, and also there's something beyond myself was stepping in to be able to help somebody or to express something to somebody. But once I was doing that, I started to have some conditioning around it. So I was doing conditional giving, conditional searching for that, for the hope of, oh, I'm going to receive that from somebody else. But, and of course, sometimes it did and sometimes it didn't. And when it didn't happen, I would get upset about it. But for myself in my own journey, I had experience before of doing psychedelics before. So I'm pretty sure you heard of ayahuasca. So when I first did experience ayahuasca, that was when I had that first deep, deep internal experience of feeling that essence, feeling that love, feeling a part of, I don't need anything right now because I'm so content with what I'm experiencing in this present moment. I don't need anything externally to bring forth to me to make me to feel this and experiencing that. So that was my very first experience with that. And of course, I was relying on something externally to give me that stimulant of that. And throughout my journey, I was chasing it through those experiences psychedelics, trying to find that again, try to feel it more, and realize that, oh, it's another pattern from looking externally for this fulfillment. And it was to the point when I realized that I feel like I don't need anything, and I'm just gonna be right now, and I'm gonna be okay with how things are right now. No need for, oh, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. Once I was able to get content with who I was in the moment and where I was in the moment and how things were, that's when I got the surge of, oh my God, the thing I've been searching for has always been here. I just needed to stop myself and really slow down to be able to experience it.
Absolutely beautiful. So let me ask you again, because what happens is we ask this question and it's almost like a throwaway question when we say, "Hey Dell, how are you?"
Yeah,
I want to ask you again now that we've had some chance to know each other a little bit.
yeah.
How are you, Dell? What's going on? How are you?
I'm feeling expansive. I'm feeling connectedness. I'm feeling love translating, going back and forth. I'm feeling this infinite space of infinite possibilities. And also, I just love the fact of what happens when myself and another being, right now, we're present to each other in this space, and it's allowing this divine energy to just flow. So I'm feeling this flow happening between us, and it's the
Beautiful.
synchronistic conversations that's going on.
I love that. I love that. Um, Let me ask you some quick lightning round questions just to get us started.
Sure.
Um, Dog or cat?
Cat,
Okay. I
right there
love.
behind me.
Yeah. I love. I love it. Coffee or tea?
T.
Wow. And are you in the box? Are you an in the box person or an out of the box person?
I have been playing hopscotch with in the box and out the box, and now I'm starting to choose to be out the box.
Wow. What's more important, to speak your truth or to be able to be available to listen to other people's truths?
I would say be able to listen to other people's truth because that enables me to hear somebody else's perspective and take that in, and also to open a space of allowing somebody else to share first. And if they're open to it, I can share mine as well. I'm not trying to like force my truth upon somebody. I'm open to hearing other people's perspective because we all have different journeys to where we're at right now. And I always love to learn.
Love it. Are you someone who fits in or are you someone who feels different?
I, I feel different.
Yeah. And are you someone that lives from your head or lives from your heart?
Live from my heart.
Fabulous. And would you say you're a leader or a follower?
I'm a leader when I need to be, and I can also follow when I need to follow.
Wow. What I find amazing in just that little lightning round of this or that, not that it boxes you or puts people in a certain thing, but it's amazing how just six or seven different choices tells you so much about like where a person's coming from, like if they're in the box or out of the box, or like dogs or like cats. I mean, it's so interesting to see. What if anything did you learn from hearing yourself say who you were?
What I was able to learn in that moment was, one, I was being authentic and expressing myself, and two, I didn't feel the need of saying like, oh, let me make sure I'm saying one thing or the other. And also, I was okay for speaking my truth. For let's say if I'm feeling like in the box, out the box, I'm playing hopscotch. I didn't say like, oh yeah, I'm out the
I
box.
love
I
that.
I expressed how I was in the moment, which was amazing, and
I
that
love.
was something that I overcame, because before I would like say like, okay, I'm either this or that, but
Yeah.
I'm a blend of everything.
So for people who are in that process of trying to overcome that, what would you say to them? What's one thing you could recommend to them that you could say, this is what I did to be okay with being authentically me?
What I started to do was to become. Oh, it's funny that the cat's behind me. I like the energy of a curious cat, and meaning I started to become more present with myself and understanding more about myself very intimately. And it reminded me like when you go on a first date with somebody and you're trying to get to know them and you're real present to yourself, asking questions, like really trying to learn this person. And usually like in the beginning stages of, I guess like a date, it's like a trial thing to understand more about the person, see if there's alignment. So I started to ask myself questions, but also started to get more present with myself, meaning like, oh, I'm doing this thing. Why am I doing this? Oh, I'm responding this way. Why am I responding this way? And I realized for myself, it was two reasons why I was doing things. One is out of love. I'm doing it out of unconditional love. And then another reason I was doing things out of fear. And once I realized I was doing things out of fear, I was, okay, what am I afraid of? And realized there was different moments in my life that was programmed in me in the present moment that I'm still acting upon. So for me, actually just being present to myself and acknowledging the reason why I was doing things and understanding that in the compassionate way, not saying like it's right or it's wrong. It's just a reason why I did some stuff, and I can either accept it or look for another way of doing it. So it's all about that self inquiry with yourself.
So was that hard for you to do? Because there's so many people that don't seem to take the time to do that. They get running so quickly in their life and they're doing what they're doing because they're doing what they're doing, but
Yeah.
they don't necessarily. I ask in my day-to-day life, I ask people, do you know who you are? And so often people say to me, I have no, what do you, I don't even know what you're talking about. What do you mean who I am? I'm a dad. I'm a businessman. I'm a this, I'm that. But they don't have a sense of being connected to themselves. Was that hard for you to say, I'm just going to slow down and I'm going to take the time to sit in this space because it could be scary and just do what I know I have to do?
Yeah. At first, like anything new is scary to do something new that you're not used to, and it's so comfortable for being in that comfortable way of doing stuff, like making sure you have all these different roles, keeping yourself busy, all those things. But as you can see collectively right now, what's happening is the world has to slow down, and a lot of distractions that we had before, we don't have them anymore, and we having to be able to sit with ourselves. And kudos to us who have been doing it before this happened, because now that, oh wow, this is more of a I guess like a speed boot camp, but like we already was prepared for this type of thing. And it's all about, you have to have the choice of doing it, not feeling like you are being forced to, even though externally it could seem like we're being forced in that situation. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, we have the free will. And for myself, it took me being sick and tired of being sick and tired, and starting to question things the way that it was, and starting to go against the status quo of things, compared to just accepting the fact like, oh, this is just the way that it is, and all these other things. And I started to just embody the fact and started questioning and started to believe the fact that like maybe I am something more than just a father or just a role in this organization or this. Maybe I'm something more than this. And once I started asking that, those questions started to embody more of it. I realized that, yeah, that's what I'm doing in the moment. But it's not like I'm going to be this person. I have to be like in this role the whole time. I don't have to be a father the whole time. I don't have to be a husband the whole time. I have to be this. I realized that I am all of that, embodying all these different things. But now I have the choice of how I'm going to show up in these things.
Yeah, love it. So, Dell, what makes you happy?
What makes me happy is being just being, meaning like I'm present, being present to whatever is in the moment and not trying to change it. It gets me pretty happy because I'm not worrying about things. And every moment is a beautiful experience by just being fully present to it. And also, what makes me happy is just being able to help be of service, help share, help people to understand something that they may not have understood before. And also vice versa. What makes me happy is learning something new in each moment that allows me to have a deeper connection with myself and deeper connection with others.
Love it. What do you do for a living?
Yeah. So I'm actually in the process. A process transitioning. So I had a corporate job in which I was in pharmaceutical sales, and I used that as an umbrella, or so I guess like a parachute safety net for me to really work through the stuff that I worked through to be confident and being of service and confident stepping forward in what I really want to do, what I'm passionate about. So now I'm making this shift to becoming a full-time life coach, teacher, student, um, course creator, a lot of different things, podcast host, but pretty much I have a unique, beautiful message from a divine that I'm ready to share to the world.
So you couldn't lob that over the net better. This is your moment. What is that message you want to share with the world?
Yeah. And that message is that we don't have to have that choice anymore of keeping, having that acceptance and choice of having things the way that it is right now. Deep down within each and every one of us, we have that calling. We know that we are deserving of more. We know that we are capable of doing extraordinary things. We are infinite. There's that energy, that essence, like I said, it's each and every one of us that's looking to birth itself and looking to expand and looking for us to follow our passions. And I just want to tell everybody that you can do that. The people who tell you that you're crazy for believing that is this, it's just because they're stuck in their own story. And the cool thing about this, and once you understand that, is you are in charge of your story. This is your story. This is your life. This is your movie. You are the director of your movie. You're the director, you're the actor. You get to be all of that into one. And now is the moment, especially right now, because there's a lot of collective change that's happening, a lot of stuff being brought up to the surface to be released in love. And this is the perfect time for you to, one, start to love yourself, start to accept yourself, start to give yourself the stuff that you're searching for externally, and which these people give expectations to. It never amounts to the expectation because it's you that's supposed to give you what you expect. And now is that time to go within. And I am here and I'm willing and I want to be able to help as many people as possible to start that journey to go within and realize that you are loved, you are infinite, you are amazing, you are powerful, you are anything you want to be. And it's just about tapping into that and bringing it out, and let's do it together.
So one of the exquisite things about this conversations, and this whole idea of inviting 50 strangers into my life to have a conversation with them is the complete surprise as to what we find when we meet somebody. On the outside, here's this beautiful black man, fit and strong, and here's this old white guy sitting here, in different parts of the world, and yet there is such a harmony of belief that we would never know had we not spent a few minutes just speaking to each other. And in the book that's behind me, the Mosaic, which is the book that I wrote. It's the story about a boy who loses his parents 2 years apart on the same day. And for me, today is a very symbolic day because today, um, my parents passed away on July 4th, 2 years apart.
Wow.
So the story is a fableized version of my story, plus with some fableized adaptations into it. But when the boy loses his parents, what he decides is he has to find his parents, and so he asks the adults where his parents are, and the adults tell him, "Oh, they're in a place called heaven. They're in this beautiful place called heaven." So being a boy, he doesn't know that he can't find that place. He doesn't know where that is. So he just sets out on the road to find the place called heaven. But the people that he meets along the way are not the ministers and the priests and the swamis and the gurus and the teachers and the healers and they're the street worker and the trash man and the homeless guy and the blind woman. They're the juice man and the waitress and the gardener and the traveler. And he wonders, what am I doing with it? Like, why am I meeting these people? And he hears this voice inside of his head that says to him, as long as you're here, why not just take time to listen to them? And he just asks them, how are you? And they start a conversation with him. And Dell, the amazing thing that happens in the course of the story is that 100% of the time, the person he ends up sitting with and talking to is entirely different than the person he first approached. Not because they're different, but because the world he sees them in a different way. And when he realizes that over and over and over and over and over again, he starts to wonder, do I really see the world the way the world is, or do I see the world the way I am? And when he wonders that, he looks over to his right and he sees a monk unzipping the sky and inviting him to come into a parallel reality with him to meet the wise one who's the keeper of the mosaic. I'm going to pause there because hopefully that's enough of a trailer to invite people who are listening to go and get the book. It's available from Amazon. But one of the main things that I really want to just talk with you about is this perception of things aren't the way they seem. Do you find that to be true?
Yeah, exactly. And it's funny you mentioned the part of do I see things the way that I am, and that's what I started to come to realization in my world, meaning that I'm seeing things from my level of view of things, and what happens in this reality is always something happens for two different people. One thing happens at a similar event, and one person's going to take it one way, the other person's going to take it the other way, and it's infinite. And it's just crazy once, like for me, once I'm able to understand that, it allowed me to experience life a different way, meaning that one person could do something and one person gets triggered because something happened to when they were 6 years old or 7 years old or whatever it happened. And the
Yeah.
other person means a completely different intent. But what happens is we go with this story of, oh my God, this person did this and this happened, compared to like what I started doing more now is having this conversation with somebody in the present moment. And it's mind blowing because it's a completely different thing that happens from that. And it also allows a space for this beautiful healing to happen.
I love that. So, do you believe that inanimate objects speak to us in the same way that animate objects? In other words, we are like your statement of listening is something I would like because it's sort of harder to do and people don't do it as much. That we listen to. It takes a special talent to be able to listen to another human being. But
Yeah,
do you believe the world around us is talking to us as well?
all the time. And everything has energy to it. And the cool thing is like all these things that we see around us is a beautiful manifestation. Not even just like physical thing, like the chair I'm sitting in was somebody's manifestation that they got an intuitive hit from the divine to create this.
Love it.
But it all has a message, like walking out in the trees and seeing trees in the forest. Like right now, I'm looking at beautiful trees, and they have a beautiful message of like how it is to stay still and receive, and stay still in the moment and receive so much information.
Yeah, love it. So, if I could ask you, when you listen, what is the world around you trying to say to you?
when I listen to the world and what it's trying to tell me right now is the fact of what is happening is we are coming together in unity consciousness, meaning we're all coming to the part of we don't see color, race, all these different things that we may think somebody's different than us, and realize that we all are the same. And in the process of getting into that is the stuff that needs to come up to the surface before that happens needs to come up. So that way we can see it, shed light upon it, love it together, grieve together, heal together through it. And universe, what is happening right now is, like I mentioned before, something is brought up to the surface. We're going to take it this way. We're going to take it that way. We're going to take it whatever level of perception that we have right now. And that's totally fine because we're all on that journey to the same destination. There's infinite paths to that same destination.
Love it. Again, what I want to highlight to those people who are listening, and I want to highlight to myself, is how amazingly similar Dell and I are. And we would have never known that had we not had a chance to just sit for a short period of time and talk. How beautiful he expresses himself and the concepts that he's expressing himself, and how important it is to support each other. Like here he is, he's making this transition from what he used to do to being this person that's available to help people do this. If you feel drawn to it, please contact him, and we're going to have his contact information. But why don't you tell people how they can get in touch with you now, if you don't mind?
Yeah, sure. So on my Facebook, my name is Dell Henderson, and it's like the computer Dell and then Henderson. Connect with me that way. I have an Instagram page as well. My tag is True Essence Connector in one word. And then my website you can find me on is www.trueessenceconnection.com. And what I usually recommend for people is to take a look at my website. And if the essence of what I express on there resonates with you, then what I love to do first for people is just have a 2 hour conversation in which what happens is you present to me what's presently happening with you, and we work through whatever's happening. And then we see if we're in alignment for working together from there.
Beautiful, beautiful. So we're gonna list all of that in the show notes here. You told me what you hear the world is saying to you, and what a beautiful thing, because so many times we would look at the chaos that we're going through and not see that it's part of the process of getting to the destination where we need to get to. But I love that you shared with us that the world is saying this is where we're going. We just have to get through some muck to get there and clear it out. What would you like to say if you had this moment in a short message to talk to a world that didn't oppose anything you were saying, but was wide open to just listen to you? What is it you
Yeah,
would want to say in a simple, short message to them?
yeah. I would say in every moment, no matter what the moment is, choose love no matter what.
Absolutely beautiful. So, can you imagine people that are listening, if you would just take that one choice? How would it change the business that you do? How would it change your relationship to your spouse or your significant other? How would it change the way you deal with your kids? How would it change the way you interact in the world around you? How would it change your political point of view? How would it change the way you treat the earth? How would it change everything if you were only to just choose love?
Yeah. And with that love going in deeper, it's unconditional, meaning that there's no way things have to be. There's no way that a person has to act. There's no way that a business needs to run or this stuff to be able to give and receive that love. And no matter what, and in that love, we get to be of service for not only every single person and everything that we do, but most importantly, that love for ourselves. And that's where it starts. Once we're able to like really embody that love for ourselves unconditionally and infinitely, it just flows no matter what you do in life, no matter what comes your way, you choose that love.
Fabulous. Is there anything that you wish I would have asked you that I didn't ask you? Is there anything that you want to say in closing up? Is there a suggestion that you want to give to the world that hasn't come out yet? You don't have to, but if there is, we're going to close down. So this would be your opportunity to say one more thing.
Yeah. I would say going back to what I said before and what people can do right now is to start questioning and start taking that loving inquiry about yourself to understand more of what do you do and why do you do the things that you do and why do you react the way that you react to things as well. And to be able to start that self-discovery, it will lead to so many profound answers and wisdom that you'll never receive by searching externally for it. But once you're able to go within and sit with that and understand it more, you're able to get those answers to move forward in your life.
Fabulous. Dell, thank you for having the courage. Thank you for showing up honest and raw and real. Thank you for being vulnerable to share your point of view with us, to an imperfect stranger like myself, and to the people that will hear you. Thank you for just your time and your energy and the work that you're doing in this world. Uh, all of Dell's contact information I will list underneath the video here that we post. And so he'll get that to me hopefully today, and we'll get this up as soon as we possibly can. For those of you who are listening, I want to thank you again for taking your time, the most valuable thing you have, and sharing that time with Dell and I today. And if we can inspire one little thing in you, I hope that this show will do that. And maybe you'll take a moment to just go up to someone you don't know and just sit with them for 10 minutes and just ask them how they are and have a conversation and just listen to what they have to say. There is so much that we share with each other that we don't know because we're caught on the superficial differences of how much money, what border I live behind, what religion I practice, what color is my skin. It's time to respect one another for who they are and to love one another and to really get to know that underneath all of the outer turmoil, out of the outer facades, if someone hurts our children, all of us are hurt. If someone hates, all of us are hurt. If someone does an act of violence, all of us experience that act of violence. Take time to change the momentum around. Be kind to one another. Take time to be with one another. And just ask people, how are you? And just listen. Thank you again, Dell, for being here with us.
Yeah. And thank you so much for having just a non-judgmental, amazing space to be able to share and connect with each other. And like you said, we have so much similarities, and that's why we're meeting right now.
Yeah.
Thank you again, and thank you for everybody who tuned in as well.
I look forward to this being the beginning of our conversations, not the end. And I hope we'll stay friends and stay connected. And for those of you who listen to this podcast, thank you so much for being here. And we'll see you again with the next conversation with another stranger that neither one of us know. Until then, thank you so much. Take care.